We have all been waiting for this trial. Sarah Boone is on her, 6th, 7th, 8th attorney? I can't even keep track. Now, normally I don't really like to watch active cases. There's a lot of information that's always unfolding, day over day, and I'm not an attorney. I'm just a guy, okay? And listen, if you're just a guy too, then we're gonna watch this. One thing I do know is that for this case, I have to say allegedly, because Sarah Boone has not been convicted. However, I saw the video with my own eyes, and it's one thing that I can never unsee. And I almost wish that I hadn't watched it. We're going to start with the prosecution's opening statements, and then we will briefly dip into the defense. Reminder, these are the people that are arguing for the state to put Sarah Boone away.
That this defendant zipped Jorge Torres shot in a suitcase. She was able to do this because at the time of his death, he only weighed 103 pounds.
Oh my God. I did not know that detail. Jorge weighed 103 pounds. They didn't have no money, and Sarah was not being nice to him. He didn't even have a cell phone. He had to use Sarah's cell phone.
She did this with the malicious intent to punish him, and then she went up to sleep and left him to take his final breaths on this earth alone. Because in this defendant's judgment, he deserved it. Now, with conscious disregard for whether he lived or died, you will see and hear these videos. What I expect you will hear...
Is she writing? That's not her hand. That's her attorney's.
From a video that began at 11:12 p.m., 45 seconds, on February 23rd, 2020, in Orange County, Florida, is a suitcase on the ground, face down, with the zippers facing the floor. You will hear Sarah, the defendant will say, "For everything you've done to me." Sarah, "For everything you've done to me." Sarah, "You." And then the defendant laughs. Sarah, "You."
I want to reiterate, what he's reading right now is the back and forth between Sarah and Jorge while he's in the suitcase, okay? She is saying, "This is for everything you did to me." And he's just saying, "Sarah." And she says, "Fuck you." And he just says, "Sarah." He's trapped. He's losing air, and she's antagonizing him while recording him. Something's really heartbreaking about a 100-pound man zipped up in a suitcase begging for help, and somebody else is in the room just recording it and laughing. That is one of the darkest ways I've ever heard that somebody has passed away in my entire life. It is so dark. In your final moments, someone was in the room, somebody that says that they love you and they care about you, and they went upstairs. If he put up with that type of abuse at the end of his life, I cannot fucking imagine what he went through in all of his years.
Sarah, stupid. Sarah, that's my name. Don't wear it out. Sarah, I can't fucking breathe, baby. Seriously. Yeah, that's what you do when you choke me. Sarah. 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 The defendant laughs again. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe. She laughs again. That's on you. Sarah, I can't breathe. She laughs again. Sarah, I can't breathe, baby. That's what I feel like when you cheat on me. Sarah, fuck you.
All about her.
I can't fucking breathe, Sarah. You should probably shut the fuck up. Sarah. Shh. Is the last thing you will hear the defendant say to Mr. Torres as he is face down, zipped shut in a suitcase. That, again, began at 11:12:45 and lasts just over 2 minutes.
Based on what he just said, I don't think that Jorge was upright in the suitcase, like losing air just due to asphyxiation. He was in a small enclosed space that he couldn't get out of with his arms and legs huddled up on his side while his face was face down in the fabric on the floor. How is just the transcript of what was said and the description of him literally just as fucking horrifying as the video. That's how sick Sarah Boone is. She is an evil person. You know, I spend so much time when I'm watching Sinisters and whatnot trying to find where someone was a human and what happened. I don't even want to know what happened to Sarah Boone. Fuck Sarah Boone. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know.
And this date, February 24th, 2020, is a Monday.
The audio in this part is really, really bad, but let me just explain what he has said happened so far. On the night that everything happened, Sarah Boone was extremely, extremely drunk. It doesn't mean anything. Bro, think about how many times you've been wasted. Would you put a man that you're supposed to care about in a suitcase? You can't even, no. We're not even living in the same worlds. I don't even see that world. No. Fucking insane. And she kills Jorge by zipping him up in a suitcase. I don't know what Sarah was thinking was going to happen next, but she went upstairs and she fell asleep. And in the morning, she comes down, sobered up a little bit, and he's dead. He's inside of the suitcase and he's dead. Nobody knows what exactly was happening in this moment, but I'm sure Sarah Boone went into a full-blown panic, trying to figure out what to do, what's the move, what's the excuse, what's something, mind going a million miles a minute. And then her ex-husband calls her because they're trying to figure out something with the kids. And she is not handling it, so he decides to come over. And when he comes over, he sees her new boyfriend, Jorge, his legs basically sticking out of the suitcase. And he looks like he's dead. Her ex-husband said, I'm not going in there. Nope, I'm going to come back out. We're going to call the police. That body cam footage, I think it's actually on my second channel. We've definitely watched it in full before. It's crazy. It's Sarah just lying out of her mind. You should watch it. Girl, you should watch it. I never say this. I never say, go watch one of my videos or go watch The Raw, whatever. It's actually crazy. It's Sarah lying out of her mind saying, we were finger painting last night and we got drunk. I don't know what happened. And her ex-husband literally being like, she is fucking crazy. Like, get me out of here. Get me out of here. Like, Finally, she's done. She's going to jail, you know? Like, and he is so cool, calm, and collected. So anyways, that's pretty much where we're at.
So now, after having first called her ex-husband, after having first waited for Brian Boone to come over, the defendant makes the 911 call. What you will not hear are tears. You will not hear sorrow. You will hear a certain level of concern. My boyfriend and I were playing last night. Put him in a suitcase, and we were playing hide-and-seek kind of thing. I fell asleep. Found him dead in the suitcase this morning. I don't know what happened. He had blood coming out of his mouth. Don't know if it was an aneurysm. Pulled him out of the suitcase, tried to give him CPR. He was in the suitcase, and I fell asleep. He's not awake. He's purple. He's not breathing. There's some instructions about how to do CPR given to her, asking about whether an AED is available to shock his heart. It's too late. He's cold, he's stiff, he's purple. We were playing hide and seek. This is horrible. This is horrific what happened. Like, what happened? We were playing hide and seek last night and I fell asleep. So she mentions that there was blood coming out of his mouth. What the doctor found was what you would expect after being left in the suitcase. He passed from positional asphyxiation, meaning like you're not going to get full breaths when you're crumpled up like an.
Oh my God. I know, audio's horrible. He just said that Jorge died from positional asphyxiation. Have you ever been like, you know, playing with somebody, playing with a friend, boyfriend, something like that, and they put you in some kind of position or something, and you realize that position makes you anxious because you can't breathe and you can't move and you feel trapped? That is how he died. If I'm like, you know, if a boyfriend and I are like, you know, wrestling, playing around, something like that, and I get into some kind of position where I cannot breathe or I'm like uncomfortable for 5 seconds, I'm like, okay. I can't imagine what that feeling is like for an extra minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 15 minutes. Positional asphyxiation. Crazy.
But she also did notice, he suffered from blunt force trauma on his torso, in his face, his mouth. The sheriff's office, Orange County Fire Rescue show up, and the defendant interacts with the first patrol officer. You will see and hear that body-worn camera is more of the same of what we heard on the 911 call.
Do we have a cameraman? Like, hello? Where is he? Like, what is going on? Okay, listen. One, we've got some pretty bad audio. And two, I've seen a little bit of enough here. A lot of times I just like to know how the state presents their argument. There's usually 1 to 3 attorneys that do most of the talking from the cross-examination, the opening statements, whatnot. And I really think that the attorney's presentation and passion is really important here. This guy is a great storyteller, has pretty good presentation, but I mean, above all, they have insane evidence. I mean, half of the evidence is Sarah's demeanor. Now, just a quick drop in before we check out the defense. Let me just recap you on where this story goes next if you don't know. So after the police arrived and Sarah is being absolutely insane, at some point she gets taken in, okay? Like, the story is just not adding up. She's absolutely erratic. You can't trust her. Her ex-husband is there saying she is off her fucking rocker, okay? And she ends up going to at least be interrogated. They take her cell phone. And while Sarah is being interrogated, somebody has actually already gone through her cell phone. So she spends, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever, just rambling, talking, whatever, trying to excuse herself. And as you guys know, the killer always gives reasons for why somebody died. Oh, he was always doing this, or oh, he had some enemies. Sarah's just ba 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 ba. And then an hour into the interrogation, they tell Sarah, "Do you know what was on your phone last night?" And she said, "No," because Sarah was so drunk, she legitimately does not remember. I mean, this is not somebody that makes a face like, "You found my cell phone?" No. She does not remember. And the investigator pulls out her phone and says, "Well, let's take a look." And she shows Sarah the first part of the video. And it's a suitcase. And it's Jorge inside the suitcase. And it's Sarah filming it and laughing. And this is the moment that she realizes she recorded her own murder. The phone dies while the investigator is showing it to her. It needs to be charged. And Sarah starts to, should I get an attorney? Do I need something? Because she's only seen the first frame of that video. She doesn't know how bad it is. She doesn't even know what's coming up next. But the investigators know. And after that, it was all over for her. Now, since then, if you're not up to date, Sarah has gone through, how many is it? 8 attorneys? Is she on her 8th attorney now or her 9th? All of her attorneys hate her. She's just off her rocker. If you haven't followed the case so far, listen, we'll put a couple of videos in the description to catch you up because I've been on this roller coaster for, 2 years now? Get me off of it. Put your seatbelts on because this is the attorney that has to defend Sarah Boone by any means necessary.
Sarah Boone and George Torres were down and out, as you can be. Their life centered around alcohol. Both of them suffered from, used to be called alcoholism, now it's called alcohol abuse syndrome.
No.
And so day to day, they struggle with the use of alcohol. You can imagine that. It affected their jobs. It affected keeping employment. It affected even getting a job.
Some of you guys just picked up on this. This is very interesting. He called him George. One of the things was, and this actually came from Jorge's family, that his name is Jorge. Sarah would call him George because she liked it better. I don't even need to provide commentary on that. You know how fucked up that is, and you know what she was doing. I don't love that he is also calling him George.
And you're going to learn with all that was domestic violence. And that George Torres physically abused Sarah Boone.
They'll say anything about you in death. They will. They really will. That is Sarah's argument that 103-pound Jorge that had no cell phone and nowhere to go. Sarah owned the house. Sarah had the job. Sarah was paying the bills. Wasn't like Sarah couldn't leave. And she is saying now, after she has killed the man, that he abused her. I don't believe Sarah Boone. Okay? I don't believe Sarah Boone. I know I'm not supposed to say that online. I don't believe her. I do not think I don't think he was abusing her. She was abusing him, okay? And how fucked up is it to abuse somebody to death and then afterwards and say, no, but they did it to me. I don't have to believe that. Fuck that.
And she suffered from the effects, the psychological effects that one suffers from repeat violence from an intimate partner. They were together over 3 years, and there were several prior incidences of violence. We've got the photographs.
I get it that you're a defense attorney. I get it. I get that you're doing your job. And I say all the time, get out there and do your jobs. How can you sit here and look at these people and lie to help that woman? I mean, really? Oh, no wonder we went through so many attorneys. Did he get a pay bump or something? I know this is a public defender. Man, I try, because I know they're just doing their jobs, but Jesus Christ.
There were incidences where police were called.
Yeah, Sarah called the police on him all the time.
So you're going to be able to see the evidence. And we believe the court will instruct you at the end when you're considering self-defense, which we call justifiable use of non-deadly force or justifiable use of deadly force, that you can consider the prior acts, the history of violence, the prior difficulties that the parties had. And considering her set of circumstances that she was faced with.
Hold on. Someone said, shouldn't that be illegal for them to try and lie? It's very impossible to prove that something out of thin air didn't happen. Like, if I said right now, you had a cat named Marlo when you were 7 and you accidentally killed your cat and you're 30 now, and I go out and tell people that when you were 7, you had this cat named Marlo and you accidentally killed it and you're this horrible person. You can't prove that Marlo never existed. You can't prove that you didn't do it. You can't, like if somebody just makes something up out of thin air, it is hard to disprove it afterwards. So in this trial, I'm saying this outright, like I don't believe fucking Sarah Boone was abused by Jorge. I don't believe it. So if you're watching this channel, just know where I stand, okay? What they can do here is she can say, if it was mutual abuse, Sarah's beating him up, which they knew, Jorge's family came out and said it several times. They were trying to get him away from her. She was crazy. If she was hitting him, listen, if you're arguing with that on me, she fucking killed him. Okay? And it was a slow death. It was a slow and sadistic death. This wasn't a crime of passion. This wasn't a defense or anything. No. It was a slow, painful, and hateful death. Hateful, I'm not sure why, but that's what it was. If they had a lot of mutual abuse going through, and like really, I think Sarah is the aggressor. I'm sure there was a point where he was like, bitch, get away from me. And rightfully so. Sarah's the type of person to say, look, you hit me. Look at this. Look at this. Sarah's also the type of person to look her partner in the eye and start hitting herself and say, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to call the police. She's that type of person. Okay. So he can now say, well, the police were called and Jorge was a bad guy. And here's the picture of Sarah's bruise. That's all they have to do. So it's not lying in court. Now they have to prove that this, didn't happen. And it's complicated. It's complicated.
And considering her set of circumstances that she was faced with in making the decision to use reasonable force under the circumstances.
Y'all just lost the trial. You just lost the trial. It's gone. It's done. Goodbye. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that, sir.
And the most important thing I can tell you here today is keep an open mind.
I will not.
There's two sides to every story.
I don't want to hear that one.
You're going to hear the state's side, them attempting to paint her a certain way, as they've done here today in opening statement. And then you're going to hear another side. And you're going to have to weigh that. All the evidence, the credibility of the witnesses, the photographs, the videotapes, and come to a conclusion. Now let's talk about this day, February 23rd of 2020, the date of this event. This case has been pending.
Listen to that language. Now, let's talk about the day, February 23rd, the day of this event. Let me rephrase that. Now, let's talk about the last night of Jorge's life when Sarah Boone murdered him on February 23rd by locking him in a suitcase and then going upstairs and going to sleep. There's a little difference in verbiage here. One's really minimizing.
Couples can have great times where things click, everybody gets along, and then we can have episodes of disagreement. And how are those resolved? Really, is what this is about. How are disagreements resolved?
No, I don't know.
But George was very jealous of Sarah. And you're going to hear the testimony about that.
He was
And that he
jealous
can't-
of Sarah? Jealous of what? I'm racking my brain. I can't find anything.
But when his level of intoxication gets to a certain level,
To deal with Sarah?
is when he gets sad, moody, and a lot of times eventually it involved forcible sex with Sarah Boone or actual physical violence against her.
That's what they said about Jorge. That's the story that Sarah has gone with. You know, there's a point where I feel like they are, with a lot of things lately actually, preying on people's empathy that have been through abusive situations, being assaulted by partners, being like antagonized by partners. It feels like they are preying on people's empathy for that. Because I know, given my own experiences, sometimes when I, hear a story and then people are like, well, where's the report? Where are the signs? I know sometimes there are no signs. Sometimes there is no paper trail. And so I will look at that with like my own lens, my own eyes on things. But this scenario, you have to be kidding me, man. You have to be fucking kidding me. Like, this to me seems like blatantly preying on people's empathy and understanding for situations to try to create some empathy for Sarah Boone. I'm not buying it. I'm not fucking buying it, dude. Ugh, this is why I hate doing ongoing trials sometimes, because she's not convicted. I'm making my stand very clear. If you were going to watch any of my coverage of this trial, that's how I feel. It's not changing.
Well, about 5 or so, the wine bottle was gone. And George had said, I want to go get some cigarettes. So there's a convenience store right close by their apartment complex. And
which Jorge does not have his own money. Sarah was in control of the finances. She had the job. She had the cell phone, everything. So his version of events that Jorge was like, all right, babe, the bottle's out. I'm going to go grab some cigarettes so we can keep painting. It doesn't make sense. In order to go get cigarettes, he would either have to ask Sarah for the money, or Sarah would be like, hey, I need you to go get a cigarette. And also, can somebody confirm this for me? In the body cam video, didn't she start freaking out and need a cigarette or something like that?
Can I have a cigarette, please?
Yeah, she's the smoker. She's the morning drinker. I don't think Jorge came into the relationship like, babe, let's get some red wine. I think that's her.
And George had said, I want to go get some cigarettes. So there's a convenience store right close by their apartment complex, and Sarah thought he was just going to walk over there and get cigarettes and come back. But no, what he did was he got her keys, he got her debit card, and he went over to the Publix and he got another bottle.
Yeah, because she asked. He is so scared of her. He would not. I'm not buying this, you dumb. Did you just come into this case or something? This guy is scared of her. He is not just taking her credit card and her keys and then going to go buy some cigarettes himself and then getting a little something extra on the house. No, this is something where Sarah's like, go get this, go do this, get us another bottle, because she wants to keep drinking too.
Well, when he comes in with the second bottle, Sarah knows this is not good. She knows this means he's going to get to another level of intoxication. So Sarah's concerned.
What is not great about this so far is that you and I have seen a lot of the body cam footage. We've seen a lot of the trial. We've seen how nasty Sarah was in her interrogation, her, further police interviews in court, like during the hearings. We've seen it. We know how just nasty she is. This defense attorney is playing to the hope that the jury hasn't heard anything about this case and he can just paint a new picture. But everything that he's saying directly conflicts with everything that I've seen, and probably you have seen too, in the last 2 years. So that's why I'm so frustrated. But it is possible that the jury is listening to this right now because they have not seen everything yet.
They drink that bottle, well, she drinks as well. And at some point, they're intoxicated. As some people do when they're drunk, they get silly. And they decide to play a game of hide and seek. She goes upstairs, their bedroom's upstairs, to the shower and waits for a period of time. And he doesn't come to her. At some point, she gets cold, she gets tired.
I like that Sarah's version of events that this man actually repeated in court, insane by the way, was, well, he grabbed another bottle and then we said, hey, what should we do for the rest of the night? Well, I'm pretty drunk. Are you down for a game of hide and seek? Yeah, okay, you hide. I'm gonna go take a shower and then I'll come down and find you. That is what he just said. That's what he just said happened.
She wants to go see, well, maybe we got it mixed up. Where is he? So she goes downstairs, and they had gotten a suitcase down a week or so ago. It's an old suitcase that they were going to donate to Helping Hands or Goodwill or somebody, and they were putting some items in there. And it's a broken down suitcase. It's a large suitcase. They both weigh about 100 pounds. And they don't eat good. Malnourished to a large degree.
I like how he takes Jorge's abuse and then spreads it over to Sarah. Like he's making all these qualities shared. When I say I like how, I don't fucking like it, okay? I don't like it.
The pull handle is broken off. And they've attached a little paper clip that's got the rubber around it. And that's how they move it back and forth. Well, she comes down the steps, she sees him getting in and settling in the suitcase. So she walks over there, and they see each other, they smile and laugh, and she zips him up. And she zips him up, and
they smile, they laugh. Okay, so done with him. Look, hey, guys, we watch full trials, we'll watch full opening statements. If they're convincing, I don't want to sit up here and listen to somebody lie to me the whole time. I think because a lot of us have been following the case for a while, the opening statements were a little bit more of a temperature check rather than a lay of the land, just to see who are the attorneys? Where are we going with this? What is their angle? Now, some of the testimonies are already out, and one of which was Sarah Boone's ex-husband that we previously saw on the body cam video.
Please state and spell your name for the record for us. Brian Boone, Brian Boone.
I was about to say, I was literally about to say, I remember that I liked in the body cam video, I liked his demeanor. It was very, I am terrified of her, kind of hate her, I'm a nice guy, we need to call the police. That was his whole demeanor. If anyone feels weird or feels like Mr. Brian Boone has a bit of a jovial nature, maybe that's just how he is. Some people are silly guys, they laugh a little when they get nervous. But also, his incredibly abusive, gaslighting, psychotic ex-wife who ended up murdering her next partner is about to go to jail, and he gets to help put her away. So, honestly, my spirits would be more, okay, this is my time, all right?
Can you tell us how it is that you know the defendant?
I dated her for quite a while, and then we eventually got married.
Did you have any children as a result of your marriage with the defendant?
Yes, we had one son.
Oh.
And how old is that son?
He is currently getting ready to turn 14.
Dude, her kid is probably so happy he does not have to be around her anymore. Oh my God. Because he's 14. He was 11 when all of this happened, so he was darting back and forth to Sarah Boone's house. By the time he was 7, he was conscious. Okay, I think I was conscious by 7. I was not conscious prior to that. I don't remember anything pre-5. Does anybody? I don't know.
Did you have, do you recall the events that occurred, I guess, first on the late evening of February 23rd, 2020?
On that evening?
Yes.
Well, apparently, Sarah called me at one point during the night.
Do you recall about what time she called you?
I think it was 11 something.
He said, I'm not picking that up.
When you answered the phone, how did Sarah sound on the phone?
She sounded like she had been drinking, was pretty drunk.
His tone, it sounded like, as usual, not surprised. I'm shocked he even answered, honestly.
Were you able to understand what the defendant was saying?
Somewhat, but she woke me up. I had work the next day. I was asleep when she called. She's done this before, calling me late at night, and generally I kind of just try to ignore it, so I wasn't really paying attention.
Who was she living with at the time?
George Torres?
When she called you late that evening, could you hear George in the background at all?
Not that I remember, no.
Did you pay much attention to this phone call?
No.
Brian. Jesus. This guy fucking hates Sarah. Understandably so. I mean, he hated her before 2020. You could see it through and through. I'm rocking with him.
No.
Jesus.
Now, the following morning, on February 24th, 2020, did you begin to call the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And approximately what time did you begin to call the defendant?
I think it was like 11 o'clock or something.
And why was it that you were calling her?
Well, it was going to be Monday. I had him on Sunday and dropped him off at school, and I was calling to try to find out if she was going to be actually picking him up that day.
Why would you have a question about whether or not she was picking him up?
She wasn't generally very good about actually getting him on the day she was supposed to.
So it was not uncommon for you to have to remind her to pick him up or to make sure that she was going to pick him up?
Well, I mean, remind or just find out if she was going to, or if she was just going to give him over to me as what happened.
On
See, it
February
just really strikes me as the type of person that will take the custody days to get back at their ex, but does not plan to be in the child's life at all, and resents their child all the time. Which also, I'm sure that's a dynamic that a lot of people have grown up in, which is just horrifying. I'm glad he's got full custody now.
And when you actually got in touch with her, what did she tell you on the phone?
That George was dead, and if I would come over.
Did she say what happened to him?
I don't remember if she told me then on the phone or when I got there, but she told me they had been playing hide and seek and that she fell asleep.
What did you advise her to do?
I told her she needed to call 911 and that I would come over as soon as I could.
And this is on your first phone call here at approximately 12:30
Yes.
on 2/24/2020.
Yes.
If any of those details sounded murky, because he said, I'm not sure if she told me when I arrived or if it was over the phone. And then later he said, I will come as soon as I can. She probably said, hey, something really bad's happened. I need you to come right now. And he could say, okay, I'll be there as soon as I can get there. Because personally, I just think that if she had said that, Jorge had passed over the phone, the first thing he would have said over the phone was, you need to call 911, not let me get there first. And I think they called when they arrived. So that kind of makes sense given what we saw in the body cam footage, but I just wanted to acknowledge that since it seemed like some of the details were. Did you guys pick that up? Anyways.
Did she call you again while you were en route to her residence?
She did. She called to find out if I was still going to be coming over.
And when you
I feel like
spoke
she would have
with her
blamed him for this if she could have.
while you were en route, what, if anything, did you advise her?
I told her she needed to call 911 and told her I was on my way, but she needed to get somebody over there.
Maybe she told him first call. Maybe she told him second call. Might be some murky details. But also remember, this was 4 years ago, and he's just now testifying. 4.5 years ago, actually. I say reliable witness.
When you arrived at her apartment, tell us what she told you when you arrived.
George was dead, and I don't remember if she told me now or before that they had been playing hide and seek and she fell asleep, but I, at that time, told her again she needed to get 911 called to get somebody over there.
Had she called 911 at this point?
No, she had not.
So you've advised her now 3 times to call 911.
Yes.
She want you over there.
Did you
so she
go
can pin it on you.
inside of her apartment?
I walked in the front door into the little tiled area, like entranceway thing.
What, if anything, did you observe when you made it to that point?
Looking into the living room, I could see like the end of his feet and maybe a little bit of some legs that were kind of coming out around the backside of the kitchen area.
Did you continue to go into the apartment?
No.
Where did you go?
Sarah told me she was going to call 911 and go outside and have a cigarette and a drink and asked me to come out there with her. And I told her that I didn't really.
Sarah loves to have her drink in the morning. Sarah loves to have her red wine at 9 a.m.
And I told her that I didn't really feel comfortable being inside. And I went out front and got in my car and waited for people to show up.
Did you witness the defendant call 911?
I think I was in there when she dialed it and first got somebody on the phone, but I wasn't there for the whole conversation. No, I was outside.
Did you stay there at the scene while police arrived?
Yes.
We saw that.
I was there. I was part of it. I knew I'd have to talk to somebody, so.
And she wanted that. She wanted that. She couldn't do it on her own. That's why she called him over. Because it was like, okay, let's see if he can take some of the heat off of me. They always bring in their recruits, don't they? Dude, pretty straightforward testimony from the husband. Surprise, it's a new day. The time of me filming this, she actually was just given the guilty verdict. This is like one of the fastest verdicts I think I've like ever seen. Jesus Christ. So fast. But we still need to see Sarah Boone's testimony.
The defense is going to put on a case. Defense, Mr. Owens, you can call your first witness.
The defense would call Sarah Boone.
Oh, good. Crazy thing to say. The defense will call Sarah Boone. That is some shit that I hear in a nightmare.
Ms. Boone, would you please tell the jury where you were born and raised?
Atlanta, Georgia.
You were born in Atlanta?
Born in Atlanta.
And how long did you stay in Atlanta before?
Dude, even her demeanor is just so annoying. Like all the adjusting, the resting bitch face. Like, what? God, she's awful.
And where did you go to high school here locally?
I did.
Where did you go to high school?
Edgewater.
Okay. And tell the jury, how old were you when you graduated?
I was 18 years old.
Now, I know you lost your mother and father.
Why did she look at the jury like that? She said, I was 18 years old. We were all 18. Most of us were. Like, we were supposed to have sympathy in that moment.
In the almost year, about 10 months of separation from Brian, my ex-husband, that is the time when I met George. And my ex-husband was trying to buy me out or force me out of our marital home. And I needed to find somewhere to live. And
So did you and George agree to rent the apartment?
yes, I needed extra income. We could not afford it, just on my own.
You were receiving some income from the marriage settlement, were you not?
Yes,
So you did have consistent monthly income coming in from the marriage settlement?
for the most part, yes.
So far, like, for the jury, this isn't doing anything. There's video evidence that she killed him. She didn't let him out of the suitcase. And now she's coming off as very unlikable on the stand. I don't know why they would put her up here. Probably because he was like, well, I'll just let her dig her own grave.
So you and George were just going to enjoy the day together?
Correct.
Is it fair to say y'all don't have a lot of money?
Yes,
And so y'all were going to do something there in the home? Y'all weren't going out for dinner or...
yes, I would consider us homebodies as opposed to going out and partying and doing this and that.
Okay. And how long do you think y'all were out that afternoon outside?
A few hours.
All right. Could you tell the jury what y'all did during that time?
We have a dartboard that's out there,
Ugh.
and
She always tries to make it seem like
just
everything
have to-
they're doing is so infantile. Even the way that she's talking is like very like, so we had a dartboard and we just wanted to have some fun and we just wanted to play. Like nobody's buying that, dude.
we were just, I guess, doodling,
Doodling.
whatever. I would always tell him that everything that you make is a masterpiece. So just let loose and just let it go. And we would just paint and,
And drink.
paint and drink, yes, and listen to music sometimes, and yes.
Okay. Now, with the dogs, did y'all get the dogs involved?
Oh, yes, my dogs follow me everywhere, yes.
Was there some dancing going on with the dogs?
Yes, after we had completed the puzzle and I guess we're painted out, I thought that it might be a good point for us to maybe listen to some music. And
Holy-
the music that George listens to is it's very fractious to me, and it was definitely not going to lighten the mood, so we ended up finding some channel on the radio, and he was feeling it, and then we ended up, my one dog gets very active and was dancing with us, and we were just having a good time listening to music.
That's Sarah Boone's story. That the night that she zipped up her boyfriend in a suitcase, that they were drinking. They'd been drinking since 9 a.m. They were having a little wine and they were painting. They were doing a puzzle. And then after the puzzle, it was like, great job. Let's turn on some music and do a little dance with the doggy. Really?
At one point, I guess he knew that I couldn't come up with anything else, tapped me on my knee and said, "You're it." So from there, I ran up the stairs and hid into our shower, just waiting for him to find me so we could hopefully go to sleep soon at some point. And
Now, your shower, is it a tub or just a walk-in?
it's a tub, but it's in the master bedroom, and you have to go all the way upstairs, you have to go in the bedroom, and then you have to go into the bathroom part, and then there's the shower part.
So did you lay down in the tub?
At one point, yes, I was.
Okay. So you were hiding?
I was trying,
Okay. And did you believe that he was going to come try to find you?
yes.
I can't listen to it anymore. It's just horse shit. It's horse shit. Let's look at her text messages. Shut up, Sarah. Text messages.
For the record, it is 108 pages, and the entire document will go back to the jury, and there will be a laptop provided to them to utilize this exhibit.
Okay. Wow.
Page 1,
Holy dude. They've got everything. The time that she made notes. Wait, 7:49. Ask him not to be despicable to me, making more drink after he guzzled his and I shared mine. Was she keeping tabs on like what she was mad about?
on page 2, date March 8th, 2018.
You're
You are now in a relationship with Jorge or George on Facebook.
So he sent this to her that they were Facebook official?
From a contact labeled as Mom, Jorge, or George, which I will just refer to as owner in future references. Where is my clippers in the gray box? From owner to Mom, Jorge, all capitals, dumpster, separate message, like you, separate message, so is your 2 shirts, separate message, no more Rick and Morty.
No more
A
Rick and
response
Morty.
from contact Mom Jorge to owner. Okay. From owner to Mom Jorge. Lucas cried when he saw the adventure fund was gone. Thank you. No wonder you're out. Off.
Dude, she clearly hates him. She hates him. Then leave, you stupid bitch. And then also this part here where she says, wanted to go on an adventure. Why does she always choose these infantile activities? Like, don't get me wrong. I love a good puzzle. I love a good paint night. I love a good adventure. But Sarah uses these things as weapons to try to make things seem more innocent when she's clearly an evil person.
From owner, be proud.
Jesus. Be proud. Feel good. Wait, are these all from Sarah? Yeah, all from Sarah. Be proud, feel good. You made our son cry. Cheese stick, Lucas, your kids. Get the fuck out of my life and my sons. No one. Spinster. Good. For nothing. DIC said the way she texts is odd. Well, she texts like she's 40. Because I think she's older.
Dumpster diver, that's what you are, and the rest of you.
Wait, never mind. You're right. This isn't, well, I'm like, do 40-year-olds just actually text like this?
And
Hold
the
on.
rest of you.
One extra for Isaac. Rats. Pork chops. Beans. Fuck all of you. Your firstborn is a joke. Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe this isn't how typical 40-year-olds text. There's a lot of people that have sent a lot of types of messages when they're upset or frustrated in a relationship. But like, her messages are like hateful. She really does not like this man. And like, when I think about it too, like, some of y'all that probably be, you know, firing off some text messages in the heat of the moment too. You don't realize that you also hate that man. You're just like, I don't know. Well, I guess that's more of a different situation, because in that situation, y'all are technically the good guys and then the guys, whatever. But in this case, Sarah's a piece of shit. I guess what I'm trying to say is that relationship arguments are one thing, but like, if you genuinely do not like somebody and you are using them as a punching bag, leave the relationship before you hurt them or before you continue to torture yourself. Oh my God, I thought that she said to him, you can go drink your life away. No, he said that to her. She's the alcoholic. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure he likes to have a few drinks and he probably is drinking to deal with her ass. But like, him commenting on her alcoholism, dude, it probably sets her off. These text messages also just mess with the defense's whole plan to try to say he was like a really bad guy. He said, I love you. She said, I'm going out at 8, getting dressed. I've given you since noon. Peace out, Boy Scout. And then he said, I'm coming over with a handle. Probably because he knows that Sarah likes to drink, so he wants to bring her something that will make her happy. Peace offering. And then he said, I was helping Pop all day cut grass. I told you guys in the beginning of this trial, I'm not going to sit here and even fucking entertain the concept of him being an abuser for the internet or for anybody, really. Like, I know, like, we knew this. Like, that. I can't even I will not even be playing any more parts of that on stream where they try to label him as such, because he was killed by his abuser. And then his abuser decided to try to say, no, it was him. And now for last night's verdict. I need to see the justice. I need to actually see the moment that it happens. So last night, as we all expected, Sarah was given a guilty verdict, but let's see it in action, as we all deserve.
There cannot be any emotional outbursts when the verdict is read. Does everybody understand that? I see everybody nodding their heads. Okay. All right, State, are we ready to bring in our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, are we ready to bring in our jury?
Yes, Judge.
All right, let's go ahead and bring in our jury. Everyone will remain seated.
I might have to get up. My feet are itching. The dogs are barking. I might have to move a little.
Members of our jury, good evening. I understand that you've come to a verdict in this case.
Yes, we have.
If you could please hand the verdict form to the deputy, please.
Fucking love justice so much.
The state of Florida versus Sarah Boone. Verdict. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the second degree as charged in the information. Still say we all dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida.
So say us too. So say us too. What do we say? I. Venus Flytrap said, should have taken that plea deal, but we're happy you didn't, bitch. I agree. To the Shadow Realm. To the Shadow Realm. Sarah, bye-bye.